The Chessable Masters finals could not be more compelling as Magnus Carlsen and Anish Giri squared off after a week-long Twitter bromance with some ribbing and jabbing. The first day between the two ended with Magnus victorious in the Blitz, and Anish had to hold with the black pieces to start the second match. Let's see if he was able to do so. So, a semi-Tarash from Giri with the black pieces to kick things off. Now, there's a lot of theory here, and Lenier Dominguez from Cuban-American Grandmaster plays this a lot, and the theory goes after CD5, Knight D5, there's this big sequence of trades, and black basically says, all right, I'm going to give you the two central pawns, I'll have this 2-on-1 on the queen side, I'm a bit more passive here than I would normally like, but, I'll stabilize the position, and I will just be okay. We saw Giri and Nepo play this quite a lot. So far, so good. The players up until move 15 were in a position with hundreds of games. About 60, 70 games. It was at this point that Magnus Carlsen uncorked the first surprise, Rook E3, which is always scary when you play Magnus. The idea of Rook E3 is very simple. If you ever move this knight, the rook is going to go here, and there's going to be an attack on the king. In this position, Knight f6 is the only theoretical move, and all the games go Queen d3 or Queen e2, defending the e4 pawn. However, this is where Magnus Carlsen began his impression of AlphaZero, the move d5, a move that's never been played, a move that black sufficiently covers and shouldn't work. And after e takes d5, he did not recapture, but played the move e5. After the move knight e4, to attack the knight e4 hits the queen, the move queen e1 played. Now, normally when you sacrifice a pawn in a certain position, you see immediate benefit. That's why things like gambits exist. That's why, you develop an attack very quickly. It's not so clear what the immediate repercussions are. Well, I'll show you. The queen opens up the rook against this queen, and rook takes e4 is a brewing threat, which is actually why Anish played the move queen c7. But this whole idea of sacrificing a pawn to shut out an enemy piece, right? You shut out the bishop, and then use your space advantage and new piece positioning to defeat your opponent. That's an AlphaZero idea. AlphaZero and Leela computers, they do this a lot. They sacrifice pawns, they create wing attacks. And this entire game from here on out, Magnus Carlsen basically made Anish Giri look like an amateur. That's not an insult. You will literally see that that's exactly what happens. Queen c7, he centralizes the knight to d4, right? a6 prevents the move knight b5. And now the move that, again, the engine would play here, h4. I should point out that it is impossible to take this pawn, because the move f3 will hit the knight, and because of this pin, you're not going to be able to save yourself from losing material. h4 takes away the g5 square and also creates a potential attack. Magnus was still in his preparation at this point with 17 minutes on the clock. Rook d8, f3, the other idea of this move. Transferring the queen out this way, the knight is kicked out, Knight c5, and now we see h5. Knight f5 and queen g3 are coming. We see knight e6, trying to trade, knight f5 now. g6 is not possible because queen to g3. And after d4, this is the only move that Giri played basically the entire game, which created any sort of problem for Magnus, and Magnus just played rook here. And actually, this move opens up the light-squared bishop. Knight c5, now relinquishing any defense here, takes, knight b3. Giri does the logical thing. When you are losing, you should try to get some pieces off the board so that you can't be attacked so easily. Magnus says, I don't give a damn about this knight, I give a damn about checkmate, queen g7. Check doesn't do anything, you're just going to play king h2. So, g6, now he recaptures the knight. This pawn is not, you cannot take it because of the back rank mate problem. So this rook d8, and the king cannot escape. So, after a takes b3, Giri said, all right, I've been trading all the pieces, let me trade all the pieces again. But remember how I said that taking this rook, the back rank mate problem, yeah, who's the guard of that piece? The queen. How do you deflect the queen away from the rook? Pause the video if you'd like, and give it a shot. Okay. Well, the only way to hit this queen with something that's not the rook is with this queen, and we would do that by playing the breakthrough move e6. If the queen takes the queen, it's just mate. If the rook takes the rook, you just take the queen. And so in the game, Anish played queen c1, right? King h2, and then decided to take on d4. And here Magnus once again disregards that move entirely and plays the move e7, threatening to make a queen. Unbelievable play from Magnus. You cannot play rook d8, you cannot play rook e4, and if you play this, you just get mated on the back rank. And so he played queen c8, and after queen e5, not even taking the knight with the rook with the knight, not even taking the rook with the knight, this move creates 3 threats. Queen g7, knight h6, and promotion. And in this position, Giri threw in one more check on h4, thinking that this capture would occur. And Magnus Carlsen, in very AlphaZero-like fashion, played the move king to g3, disregarding that entirely. And these 3 threats loom. 3 threats loom. 3 threats loom, and Anish Giri resigned game 1 of their second mini-match. This is a very difficult way to start off a mini-match, let me tell you, especially after losing on day 1. And, well, not to spoil anything, but Magnus got off to a very, very good start. Let me know your thoughts on the game in the comments below, and as always, a question for you: do you think that Anish Giri is Magnus's biggest rival? And if not, who do you think it is? I'll see you in the next video.